Okay, well, first of all, on behalf of Rob McEwen and McEwen Mining, welcome. I think a lot of you have been here before, a couple of new faces, so I'll just go over the rules. Rule number one, there are no rules. It's quite informal. The only problem is if you stop the speakers, you're not mic'd up, so it'll be hard for them to pick it up. So if you have something burning, I'll just ask the speakers to, restate the question. The other thing is, in case of a fire alarm, first you'll hear an announcement. So don't jump up and leave. It'll say something like they're checking it, and then you can follow one of us out. There's exit pretty much where you came in, and then one further down the hall where the washroom, the female washrooms are. As you know, we hold these every couple of months. We usually invite two speakers. They just happen to be sitting there. I won't introduce them. I'll just ask them to introduce themselves, a little bit about themselves and the topic. And what we do is we tape the sessions. We put them on our website, on the CIM website, and then usually the speakers put it on their own website, so they're usually easy to find. We get pretty good response. We get over a couple thousand hits right away, then it trails off. I don't usually speak, but I thought I would just show a couple of slides. Peter's laughing. He's heard me speak a few times here. So I put an article on your desk. I found it quite interesting. I just saw it this morning, and when you read articles like that, you get all excited, and boy, I hope my kids go into this industry. We got robots, we got AI, we got IT, we got all this stuff, and then you kind of get to the reality, and maybe you'll show some of the reality during your slides. So the first one I put here, I don't know if you are familiar with the Gartner hype cycle. It kind of tracks where technologies are, where they think they'll be in 10 years. So it starts off as the innovation trigger, then the peak of inflated expectations, the trough of disillusionment, and the slope of enlightenment. So you can see virtual reality has moved along the path, and a couple are just starting off there, like smart dusts and 4D printing. 4D printing is interesting. Just when you are starting to get used to 3D printing, they brought in 4D printing. So this is 4D printing is 3D printing, but the alloy or the plastic changes over time. Or if it gets wet, or if it's in a magnetic field, it'll change shapes. So now that mining is starting to just start on 3D, they throw in 4D. I have no idea what 5D would look like. So a couple of them here, they broke them down, AI everywhere. So we'll hear one of our speakers talk about that one. Transparently immersive experiences, so 4D, augmented reality. I don't know what's wrong with reality. We got virtual reality, now we have augmented reality. It's like intelligence. Like, what's wrong with intelligence? Why do we need artificial intelligence? Augmented intelligence. Well, we'll find out. And then digital platforms. Hi, Rosemary.
Sorry.
It's okay, we're not in school. So what can I create for you today? We'll see from our two speakers here. And then these are very recent, a couple from today, a couple from just a couple of weeks ago. So unearth solutions, what type of tech will you get to see? So they're having a display in Australia, autonomous robots, VR, AR, AI, machine learning, biometric monitoring. From Anglo, technology set to unleash a mining innovation. This one's just from today. I think it's that one there. Robots will run mines. Mines in the next decade will be run without humans and will rely on robots, virtual models, and sensors. Maybe in the next decade we'll see that again. In the next decade we'll have weeks away. It's coming. And then we're talking about dry concentration and Anglo's dry processing. So no flotation, no leaching, no filtration, no tailings. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Martek's law. I find it quite interesting. What it says is that technology changes at a very fast rate, and people and organizations are much slower. And eventually you get a big enough gap where something will happen. We change from a rotary dial to a smartphone or autonomous cars or whatever you have. But has this happened in mining yet? Has this gap grown enough? I guess not, because we haven't made that leap yet. But Martek's law. Everyone's familiar with Moore's law, and here they plotted Moore's law on the cost per genome. So the first mapping of the genome took about 110 million, and now they have kits for 1,000, and now they're saying they'll go down to a few hundred, 500. So this has gone faster than Moore's law. But if you look in mining, I think the only thing that looks like that is the depth that we're going to find the ore, or the grades are going from 50 grams per ton to 0.5 grams per ton. So when will this happen in mining? When will we follow this type of thing in whatever we're looking at? Everything around us, AI, genomics, robotics, printing, energy storage, are going at that rate. How many people have seen this video? How do I start this thing? There we go. If you Google "grandma takes a ride in a Tesla," apparently 5 million people have found this very, very funny. I think the point here is that, you know, the technology's there. People are saying 80, 90% of what we need in the mining industry is available, but we're not grasping it. So, you know, when I go to the conferences and I hear the CEOs or the CFOs, you know, it's like, I don't understand Bitcoin, I don't understand AI. That's not the point. You know, people out there do understand it, and it just sounds like we're a bunch of grandmas riding Teslas when I go to these conferences. And then I look at the mining situation. So when I started in 1987. It took about 3 years. You found something, you explored, you went through permitting, and then you started building a project. And then it went up, and now we're into like the 35-year range. So if you had to put money into a project that took 35 years before you're going to see the first dollar back, I'm not sure if that would be the greatest investment. So we have to do something to get better at finding, permitting, and start building these projects. And then you look at mining. We had a hackathon, and some smartass in the group said, well, at least they added color to the diagram, because you know, a crusher, a ball mill looks pretty much the same way as it did like 100 years ago. I don't know if you saw this one in the mining news. This is just an artist's rendition. It was the first wheel ever invented, this one here. So the guy who invented it took it down to the quarry, and the mining engineer said, hey, that's great, but where has it been used before? And you know, that's pretty much what the industry is, always rushing to be second. Leave you with this joke here. How many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? Only one, but the light bulb really, really wants to change. And that's sort of what the mining industry is like. We hear a lot about this, you know, we want these things, we want AI, you know, we want new innovation. But who's going to be the first to take the plunge and get this thing going? So we'll switch.